Hi, my name is Josefa Huber. I'm a US CPA living in Israel, and I'd like to show you now how to input your US bank information in order to get a direct deposit from the IRS of your EIP, your Economic Impact Payment, also known as the coronavirus payment or stimulus refund, stimulus payment. So you would use this system if you are already eligible and if you've already applied for the payment, usually by filing a tax return. So you can use a system to check your status and input payment if you already filed a 2018 tax return or you filed a 2019 tax return relatively early and it's already been processed. If you use the non-filer system, I did a separate, or if you think you're eligible for the non-filer system, I posted a separate video about that. So you're going to start by going to the IRS webpage. It's irs.gov/coronavirus/getmypayments. You can also Google it or go directly through the IRS website, but make sure you are on irs.gov. And you're going to need your last tax return. Probably that's going to be your 2018 tax return. If you think your 2019 tax return was already processed, you may need that. But for most people who only submitted their tax return in the last couple months, you need your 2018 tax return and you need your bank information, the routing number and the account number. So you go to irs.gov coronavirus get my payment and you click get my payment. You might want to look through this information, make sure this is appropriate for you, but I'm going to skip to the part that you're going to input your payment. Yes, we know it's for government use only. I'm going to go in here. This system you can use also to check your status even if you are expecting a paper check or if you use the non-filer system already. If you're helping someone else with this process, you're also going to need to have their date of birth ready and the other information you should be able to find from the 2018 tax return. So you input their social security number. I think you can do it with or without dashes and that'll work. The date of birth, the street address, and if you have an apartment number, you just use the number sign. Otherwise, it should be exactly as it is on the tax return. And you'll also need the postal code or zip code. If you have a foreign postal code, then you're going to need to skip to Schedule 6 if you don't have that handy. Schedule 6 of your last tax return is going to show the postal code. If you're looking at the 2019, thank God they changed the format and the postal code is now with the address. So you put in all that information and you continue. Once you do that, a number of things could happen. Okay, so in this case, I've obviously input something wrong. So this is what happens if the information, date of birth, some sort of information that you have here does not match the IRS's records. Okay, so I got through. So now a number of things could happen by the time you get to this page. For most people, this is exciting. This enter bank information is great. You may see a number of different statuses. One common one is saying that they don't have enough information for you. That's unfortunate. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. You could wait. There's a likelihood you'll get your check anyway, or you can try calling the IRS to get more information. You can also, you may also see a status that your check was mailed on a certain date. And in that case, you just need to wait to get it. But if you do see that it says your check was mailed, let's say May 1st, May 15th, something May, even maybe the beginning of June, I suggest checking back every couple of weeks because you may see that what happens is that if the check is returned to sender or otherwise they determine that it needs to be canceled because you're not going to get it, then the IRS does cancel the check and then you get this opportunity again to enter your bank information. So we're going to go ahead and enter bank information. Now, the first thing you're going to need is to actually verify some basic information so that anybody can't just go in here and enter their bank information and get your refund. So you need your adjusted gross income, and I'm going to show you where to find that. If somebody else did your tax return, if you had a professional do your tax return and you and this was e-filed, which is the most common way that a professional accountant would be filing your tax return if it was filed on time, is that you should have, usually at the very beginning of the PDF that the accountant might give you, Form 8879, which is the e-file authorization form. This isn't your actual tax return, but it has the information that we need. So line 1 on the 8879 is going to show your adjusted gross income, and the other information you'll need is the amount owed or the refund amount. And those are also going to be found here. If you have a refund, it's going to be on line 4, and any amount owed is going to be on line 5. And that's exactly what you need to show here. So if you have anything on line 5, even a 0, then you would click the I owed money and write in the 0. If your 2018 tax return was not electronically filed, or you prepared it yourself using a free software or the like, then you continue on to find the actual tax return. So for the 2018 format, the first page of the tax return is actually half a page, and that contains your basic information, your social security number and your address and things like that. So you want to continue on to page 2, which is falling out either on a separate page, a separate half page, or the second page of the second half, or the second half of the same page as the first page. Depends on what's the software that you're using. So you want to skip down to line 7. Line 7 is where you're going to find your adjusted gross income for the purposes of this particular application. This is adjusted gross income. In this case is being used. One way is to verify your identity, but your adjusted gross income is also the way you'll find out if you're eligible at all. So if you're curious whether or not you're eligible, you can go onto my website. It's hubertaxcpa.com/coronavirus-EIP-refund. You can put in your adjusted gross income from line 7 of your 2018 tax return and how many dependents you had under the age of 17, and that's going to tell you how much money you would be eligible for. So someone who made, a married couple who made $180,200 with 4 children would be eligible for this amount of refund. If they had no children, they would only be eligible for $890 because the amount phases out around that income level. If you owed tax or you had no tax due, you would see that amount on line 22 of the 2018 format. And that's the number you put here. And then you would check I owed money or had no tax liability. If you got a refund, you would see that number on line 20A, the amount you want refunded to you. So if you had an overpayment, and you chose to apply that to next year, I'm finding that you would still do 0 if you had no actual refund. So you only want to focus on the number that's actually on line 20A of the refund that you're getting. And then if you had a refund, you would click I received a refund, and you would put that amount here. The next thing that you need is your bank information. If you do have a paper check around for your US account, then you can find the routing number and the account number on the bottom of the check. If you don't have a check handy and you don't happen to know the routing number, then you usually can go on the bank's website or the application. So if you have an application where you can log into your bank account, then you can usually find the account number there, the routing number. The account number should be easy to find. The routing number you should be able to find in your account information if you look in the app for whichever bank you have. So you need to select if it's a savings account or a checking account, and then you would input the routing number. It does not allow you to cut and paste, and the bank account number, which you'll also have to type in twice. If you make a mistake here, I don't think you will know until you don't get it. And then I think eventually the IRS will send you a letter that there was a problem with it, or you'll eventually check your status and it'll say that they mailed you a check. So I don't think you'll see anything at this point where the IRS will tell you that this isn't a valid account number. So if you get a number wrong, or if you use the wrong kind of routing number, you're not going to know at this point. So I'm clicking submit here, and that's it.